Come on in, welcome to Idled Out, where we talk all things Survivor. My name is Luke, and today we're talking about the Mandela effect in Survivor. If you're not familiar with the Mandela effect, it's a phenomenon whereby a significant number of people misremember an event in the same unusual fashion, like Sinbad starring in a 90s movie called Shazam, for example, or Dolly in Moonraker having braces, or Cook Islands being a good season of Survivor. Crazy to think that none of these actually happened. The phenomenon is named for Nelson Mandela and came into popular use after his 2013 death, when a bunch of people all of a sudden realized that their memory of him dying in prison in the 1980s was completely false. While I'm not qualified to talk about why or how the Mandela effect happens, I am qualified to talk about the times it happened to Survivor viewers. From commonly misremembered boot orders to classic quotes we're all getting wrong, let's count down 5 super weird Mandela effects in Survivor. At number 5 is the fuck you to Brad Culpepper in Survivor Blood vs. Water, commonly misattributed to Candace when it was in fact Marissa who cursed him out. In Blood vs. Water, Brad Culpepper became something of a lightning rod for criticism from both the eliminated players in the game, largely from the Loved Ones tribe Galong, as well as the Survivor veterans over on Tadhana. Voted out? Blame Brad. Your loved one was voted out? Blame Brad. I'm not saying he deserved to play again or anything, but I actually think Culpepper gets a really bad rap from this season. He was the quote-unquote leader of his tribe, but he never relished voting people out, and he was far from villainous and didn't take the game personally, even in his eventual defeat. I mean, if you don't want your loved one voted out, then throw a challenge and vote out Colton. Seems pretty simple to me. Because of the nature of having family members in the game competing against each other, emotions were high anytime someone was voted out, and blaming Brad was the way most people processed their, or their loved ones', dream of winning Survivor ending. There were 2 things you could practically set your watch to during Blood vs. Water: that Jeff would squeeze every ounce of drama, no matter how unhinged, from the season's brother v brother premise, and that when the Redemption Island players entered the arena, someone would yell at, flip off, or yell at and flip off Brad. In episode 3, during this episode's particular Brad bashing from Tyson, Brad makes what I think is a pretty solid point. They haven't wanted to vote off anyone, but because they keep losing, they've had to have the difficult conversations the other tribe simply hasn't had to have yet. And this sets Marissa, not Candace, off.
We're playing Survivor, babe. Maybe there's more to it than that.
You, Brad Culpepper.
Yep, while Blood vs. Water is undoubtedly the best iteration of Candace, it was Marissa who said "fuck you, Brad Culpepper," not Candace. My best guess as to why everyone thinks this was Candace is because in the following episode, after her husband John's been voted out, she walks into the Redemption Arena and flips Brad the bird. And these 2 moments are getting conflated in a lot of people's minds. It was actually this original interaction that started the ball rolling on Colton crying and then quitting in episode 3. So actually, thank you, Brad Culpepper. At number 4 is the mistaken belief that Boston Rob didn't make the merge in Survivor Marquesas, when he in fact did. I see this trotted out in an attempt to discredit Boston Rob's gameplay with some regularity. Rob played 5 times and only made the merge twice. He sucks. Well, he technically made the final episode of Island of the Idols, plus several reunions where he wasn't even on the season, so let's not play the technicality game. And whether you're a Rob fan or a Rob hater, we've got to be fair. Rob made the merge in Marquesas, he just didn't make the jury. Look, here he is, at the merge, merging it up. In fact, Rob was even selected as his tribe's ambassador for a merge summit, where he and Kathy got loaded on like 30 Coors Lights and painted a tribe flag and decided on their tribe name. So that's how we ended up with Soliantu as the merge tribe name. Not that he needs me backing him up, but I also want to defend Rob's gameplay in this season. Rob plays an aggressive game based on making other players afraid that if they don't give up all their information, he'll eliminate them. It's obviously a high-risk, high-reward strategy. Rob knows this, and in Marquesas, it was pretty revolutionary. He eliminated the obvious Colby-esque player early on and assumed full control of Mataamu, ruling them with an iron fist. He was then swapped over to Rotu and then separated from his closest ally. He survived 4 pre-merge tribal councils and a very unfavorable post-swap, and then entered the merge down 7-3. Not that numbers like that aren't insurmountable, but it's not easy. Only survivor legends like Mick can overcome those odds. Anyway, I've lost the plot a bit, but Rob did make the merge, and I think his Marquesas gameplay is generally pretty good. In fact, I don't think Rob's ever turned in a truly bad survivor performance. Well, maybe this.
I feel like it's getting the best of me.
At number 3 is Jeff saying Wentworth does not count as he reads each ineligible vote for Kelly Wentworth following her first idol play in Survivor Cambodia, when he actually says Wentworth will not count. Look, I don't have to tell this crowd that this is one of, like, the top 2 most iconic idol plays ever on Survivor. Kelly negated 9 votes, completely invalidating some 75% of the eligible votes, like she's the Electoral College or something. And then the cherry on top is that she sent home everyone's favorite beanie-wearing, crying 'cause his wife's so hot, Jerry Springer representing law-talking guy. It was pretty awesome. But Wentworth does not count is definitely not what Jeff says as he's reading the votes.
Wentworth will not count. Wentworth will not count.
So how did we go from future tense will to present tense does? Well, Wentworth does not count at her second idol play at Final 6, when she negates 3 votes, leading me to believe that the 2 moments simply were combined in people's heads and they went with the cooler sounding Jeff soundbite when recalling the more iconic moment. I mean, honestly, I frequently completely forget about the Final 6 Idolpalooza in Cambodia. We actually came really close to a repeat of this in Survivor Edge of Extinction, when Kelly Wentworth found an immunity idol in the post-merge. I mean, I'm sure Jeff was extremely excited to say Wentworth does not count. Again, it's the ultimate layup. Who could predict, however, that Wardog would go and ruin everything, flipping on his 2 closest allies for, and I can't stress this enough, literally no reason, robbing us of a 3rd epic Wentworth idol play. Wardog, stick to what you're good at. Ruining challenges. At number 2 is Colby saying Dammit Reed at the family visit of Survivor Heroes vs. Villains, something he doesn't actually say. Colby's Heroes vs. Villains game was a story of disappointment, particularly in the challenge department. In Australia, he was an unstoppable challenge god, winning 8 of 10 post-merge challenges. Dear Lord. Flash forward 9 years later, and he's getting bodied by Coach. When we get to the loved ones visit at Final 6, Colby should be dominating, especially considering that the challenge involves the survivor's loved ones. Surely throwing buckets of water to your similarly athletic brother is something Colby can do. Surely. Yeah, things don't go great for Colby and his brother Reed, as an increasingly frustrated Colby puts in another Sandra tier challenge performance and stops to berate his brother Reed for failing to catch his water tosses at every turn.
Tell me what to do, Reed.
Try it up a little bit. There you go, try that.
Colby falls short. Reed.
I did, I held it right there.
Come on, Reed!
Smooth it.
Reed, talk to me for God's
Keep
sake.
it straight, keep it straight.
Every little bit helps.
Reed, tell me what you want.
Just throw it high.
Come on, Reed, get it!
I mean, I'd probably be frustrated too if I was getting beaten that hard in a challenge by Laura Bonham. It's easy to see how this moment morphed into Dammit Reed in everyone's minds. We're really just cutting out the unnecessary words and getting to the heart of the outburst. Colby's impotent frustrations that he's simply no longer the Donaldson of old. He can't even win a water throwing challenge against a hobbit, a pirate with a broken toe, and Sandra. I mean, you even practiced this in Australia, Colby. Come on. The biggest Survivor Mandela effect ever is Malcolm's hold-up bro at the merge vote of Survivor Caramoan. Before we get to Malcolm actually did say though, let's talk about this move, which, although ultimately miscalculated, was still a strategically sound exercise in persuasion and charisma that only an S-tier player like Malcolm could pull off. This is the second round after the merge, and the three amigos, Malcolm, Reynold, and this golden retriever, are the only members of the tribe outside of the Stealth R Us alliance. Well, I guess there's also Michael, but he's basically an unsigned free agent that no one really wants. The three amigos are trying to peel off Dawn, Sherry, or anyone else to join them in flipping the balance of power, and as punishment for this, Stealth R Us decide to target Malcolm, but tell him that they're splitting votes between Reynold and Eddie. After Eddie lets Andrea in on the plan that the three amigos are targeting her, good one, doofus, Andrea gets spooked and asks her alliance to change the vote from Malcolm to Michael out of fear that she might get idled out. At Tribal Council, Malcolm correctly reads that he was the target of the majority alliance, but is unaware they've since changed the vote to a safe Michael vote. When Reynold gets up to play his idol, Malcolm convinces him to play his idol on him, getting Reynolds' attention with a hold-up bro that's since become iconic. Except that's not what he said.
Hold up, Reynold.
The music, combined with Malcolm's clear vocal anxiety, make it kind of hard to hear. But don't worry, Detective Luke is on the case. I used some magic to get to the bottom of this, so we can finally clearly hear what Malcolm said.
Hold up, Reynold.
Yeah, he said Reynold. Sorry. Of course, the quote became even more famous when Max quoted it in Survivor Worlds Apart right before he was blindsided, ingraining "Hold up, bro" as the canonical Malcolm quote forever. Yeah, I guess "Hold up, Reynold" wouldn't make much sense in this context. Got nothing else for ya. If you want to help hold up your bro, me, like and subscribe and I'll get you more Survivor content just like this. Until next time, don't get idled out.